Hello! So as you may or may not know, a brand new Monster Hunter Stories game has been announced for the Switch, and I am so excited. This is a game I've been dreaming about for years, and I genuinely never thought that it would happen. But I'm also pretty sure a lot of people have never heard of it, or just haven't really thought that it's for them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I love it so much, and why you might like it too. So I'd never really played a Monster Hunter game before Stories on the 3DS. I'd played a few of the demos, I'd even gotten a cheap copy of Monster Hunter Generations on the 3DS, but I'd put them down almost straight away. There's just so many options in terms of weapons and different stats and playstyles and tutorials and systems, all in tiny little menus, especially on the 3DS. It was all a bit too much work for me as a new player, as well as the gameplay being kind of tough. Having gotten into the mainline series now, there's definitely a lot of appeal in those difficult battles and complex systems, but as a casual first timer, it was all a bit of a barrier to entry. If you're a person who likes Monster Hunter, and I have since put a lot of hours into the mainline games, maybe you've been playing Rise on the Switch or you've played other games in the series, I think there's a really good chance that you will like Monster Hunter Stories. You already like RPGs, crafting, fighting big monsters. Stories is a genuinely solid RPG that you can play just to beat the campaign, or you can play for 400 hours and get a team of golden ultra monsters and rule over PvP. While the battle system is different, Stories will feel super familiar to long-time Monster Hunter players. It's got your classic armours, your weapons, abilities, different monster behaviours and their moves, gathering plants, crafting potions, all in a shiny new package that's fresh and exciting. My main love is creatures. If you know anything about me, it's that I cannot resist a creature. I grew up on Pokemon and Digimon and Spectrobes. Does anyone else remember Spectrobes?
I discovered a new species. Check out Komanoto.
You name it, no matter how obscure it was, if it had monsters to collect in any form, that is it for me. So I've always seen the plushies and the illustrations and designs of all the cool creatures in Monster Hunter, and I've always been a bit sad that I couldn't really get into it. Monster Hunter Stories is the perfect gateway drug into the world of Monster Hunter. If you love creatures, this is the game for you. The main focus of the game is collecting, hatching, and battling your monsties. That's right, they're called monsties. They're monsters who are your besties. They're monsties. It's adorable. The monsties themselves are equal parts cool and cute. They're slightly scaled down versions of the giant beasts you would fight in the mainline game, and now you can ride them and battle with them as your friends. I think they've hit a really good balance of keeping the character of these big, intimidating monsters. Plus, when you hatch them from their eggs, they are so cute. Look at this! And of course, as with any good monster collecting game, there's a really good amount of RNG involved. You're working to build the best team with the best abilities and stats. The systems are a classic example of simple to start but difficult to master. You collect more monsters by sneaking into dens and stealing eggs. But of course, some eggs are better than others. They've got different base stats, you've got the chance to pick up some ultra rare monsters, or even the chance to get crazy sub-variants of your usual monsters. This kind of thing is really my jam. But fear not, no monster is a bad monster. It's got a really interesting system that allows you to use one monster to power up another. So while this doesn't generate crazy new combo breeds, which is sad, you can use it to boost up your monster's stats and inherit specific genes, which means your water type monster can now shoot fireballs. Neat! I won't get into the whole gene system in detail. Again, it's simple to start, difficult to master, but by filling up your 3x3 gene grid, you can create some really powerful monsters with all sorts of unique abilities. You can also get bingo bonuses, which encourage you to make a line of 3 of the same type for an extra stat boost. And you can just go absolutely nuts with this kind of stuff. I love how much freedom it gives you. There is no penalty for just experimenting and trying things out. I love a monster game that allows you to boost your existing team, rather than just throwing your starter Pokemon in the bin the moment something better comes along, you know? These are my monsters, guys. We have a bond. And giving monsters fire abilities and stuff slightly changes their colour, which I think is really fun. Outside of the monsters is my second love, crafting. Specifically crafting weapons and armour. As you fight wild monsters, you can use the parts they drop to make cool new armour and weapons, which then has that added bonus of making you stronger, which means you can fight bigger monsters, so on and so forth. I find this loop really satisfying. And for me, the game had a great balance of constant little wins to feel like you're always doing something to progress at a good rate. You're leveling up your monster, you make some cool new armour, you find a rare monster egg with some crazy genes you can use, you find a new area, you beat a big boss, etc. It's just really good. I'm sure there are some die-hard Monster Hunter fans out there who might feel that the game is a little bit too simple compared to what they used to. But for me, while I really enjoyed Monster Hunter World, I would argue it has way too many systems. Like, more than any game I have ever played. Putting this visual together hurt me. And this isn't even everything in the game. Monster Hunter Stories refines all of those key systems into a diamond and presents all that information to you in a way that is clear and easy to understand. I don't want to have to do hours of homework to play my video game. Stories is absolutely not a dumbing down of the core series. It takes all of the things you love from Monster Hunter and just puts them into a really kick-ass turn-based RPG. It's great! Stories is just a really good, solid RPG. Don't be put off by the rock, paper, scissors combat system. When you start combining that with special abilities, type matchups and status effects, there is a lot to get your teeth stuck into. Especially when you get to online PvP and other people's souped up ultra monsters. Monsters will switch up their attacks mid-fight just like in the mainline games, so you've got to pay attention to what they're doing, and you can focus on breaking certain body parts to hinder its attacks. There's definitely a lot to think about. It's not dissimilar from other modern turn-based RPGs like Bravely Default or Octopath Traveler, with your successful attacks earning you boosts to your special gauge, and opportunities to break your opponents and stop them unleashing attacks on you. You can't directly control your monster's actions, so it's really important you have an understanding of what your opponent's going to do, what their kind of tactics are, and building up a diverse team of monsters who can focus on different kinds of attacks. And of course, you can switch those out mid-battle as needed. You've also got overworld abilities, which vary from each monster. Some can fly or swim or do a big jump. And as you might expect, this lets you get to new areas and locations. The exploration is a really key part of the series, with big open maps full of hidden areas and details. It's a game that really rewards you for exploring, and I love that. I love just the basic experience of getting to ride around on my monster's back and teaming up together in fights and unleashing the power of friendship against my foes. It's wholesome and good, and you know what? I think we all need that right now. We've gotten a sneak peek of the story from the trailers so far, and it's not a million miles away from the first game. It's your classic save the world from evil through the power of friendship kind of deal. You know, it's a classic for a reason, and I will cry every time my Ratha puts itself in harm's way to protect me. That's just what's gonna happen. On top of that, the first game had a really fun mix of characters. You've got your serious sword guy, you've got your earnest friend, you've got Sasuke, and you've got some silly cartoon villains who are just messing things up all the time. This is what I was raised on. As a final cherry on the cake, this game is gorgeous. I was really impressed with the original game on the 3DS, and Stories 2 is just everything I could ask for from a jump to the Switch. Yes, I'm looking at you, Pokemon. Take notes. The world is vibrant, the art direction and the cel-shaded style just makes everything look clean, and they have absolutely nailed the anime aesthetic. I was really impressed with the character creator in the first game, and looking at Stories 2, it has only gotten better. Overall, this might not be everyone's cup of tea, but if you like any combination of monster collecting, RPGs, crafting and exploration, and just having a great wholesome time, I highly recommend Monster Hunter Stories to you. There's a free demo out now on the Switch. Go check it out. If you're even remotely interested, which, after watching this video, I hope you are, you really have no excuses not to. So, have I managed to convince any of you guys? Have you played Monster Hunter before? Or have you been put off by it like I was? Did you recognise all of the creatures that I showed earlier in the video? I'm really keen to hear all of your thoughts, so let me know down in the comments. if you enjoyed the video, you would be doing me a big personal favour by showing the algorithm some love, liking, sharing the video, subscribing if you haven't already. I'm a pretty small channel, but I'm nearly near that 1,000 subscriber mark, so if I can get there, I might be able to make like £2 a month from YouTube ad revenue. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm sending you all good vibes, as always. So look after yourself and do something nice today. Bye!